Hello Mila, hello Jack. Hello everybody else who's watching. Welcome to Storytime with Grandad. Today's book is from Roobarb and Custard and it's When Rhubarb Brought the New Year In. One day, when the old year was about to slip into a Scotch mist, and no one was at all sorry to see him go, Rhubarb was sitting in his kitchen, waiting impatiently for the minutes to tick by. He had already digested the morning paper and was beginning to wish he hadn't, when the grandfather clock, unable to hold up his big hand any longer, chimed the half-hour. "If it doesn't come soon, it'll be too late," wailed Rhubarb, holding his bark, crossing his paws and sticking a sprig of white heather behind his ears. "Last day of the year, Dogmanay and all that, and the gathering of the Clan Muck Rhubarb. But if it doesn't come soon, everything will fall flat as an oatcake." Suddenly, however, there was a tremendous clatter at the front door. Rhubarb hurled himself hastily into the hall, and a brown paper parcel tied up with tartan string was squeezed through the letterbox and bounced onto the mat. "Hurrah!" hollered Rhubarb. "This must be it. It's arrived. I absolutely positively knew it would." Although, only a little while before, he hadn't known absolutely positively anything of the sort. He picked up the parcel, poked it and prodded it, and holding it close against his fur, galloped off into the garden to tell everyone the good news. "It's arrived. Come and look," shouted Rhubarb, and led himself a dance right round the big tree in his excitement. "It's arrived! It's arrived!" he repeated. "Just in time for Dogmanay. Now we can put on the porridge, boil up the broth, reel off a few reels, and go first pouring at first light." And with trembling paws it began to untie the string and rip off the brown paper from the parcels. The birds, who hadn't a clue what he was ranting about, gathered around, hoping that perhaps he would share the string with them. They had never tasted tartan string before, and it looked as though it would have a fantastic fruity flavour that made them drool at the beaks. All the animals came scurrying as well, and Custard pulled a loose plank out of the fence and glanced into the garden. "Ha," he said in total uninterested way, which really meant he was curling up inside with curiosity. "What have you got there, then?" Rhubarb gave a particularly beaky bird a bang on the bonce and ordered him to take his beak out of the brown paper. "This is my do-it-yourself bagpipe kit," he announced proudly. He pulled off the last of the wrappings, and all the bits of bagpipes fell to the ground. "There's an instruction book included for putting it all together into one piece," he explained, "and a musical manual of bagpipe melodies. All very simple. Simple enough for even the most brainless bird or animal to understand. Now," he began to pick up the pieces, "if some of you could just lend me a paw—" But, with a great capering and cawpering, a skittering and a scattering, the birds disappeared from sight, taking their bird brains and their string with them. "Oh well," sighed Rhubarb. "In that case, I'll have to make the whole caboodle myself and be blowed to the lot of them." And he set off back to the house to find his pot of glue. "Caboodle?" queried Custard. "I thought you said it was a bagpipe kit." "Well, so it is," snapped Rhubarb bad-temperedly. "And it's not just any old bagpipe set either. It's a famous Caboodles of the Clyde kit, special offer to terriers of the McRhubarb clan. So there." All through the afternoon, Custard lay uninterestedly on his back and watched the clouds going by and the birds larking about. All through the afternoon, Rhubarb lay flatly on his front, read the instructions, glugged about in a pot of glue, and listened to the grandfather clock ticking away at the old year. "Fix A to B and place over C and around D," muttered Rhubarb, scratching his pom-pom with his paw. "Press AD to AC and pull through CD. Attach to base and bend over backwards at the spot marked X." Rhubarb found the spot marked X and bent over backwards, but that didn't seem to make anything clearer. So he turned the instruction book upside down and stood on his head. "I'm getting in a Bit of a fix, he told himself, but like any true Scot, worthy of his sporran, he wouldn't give up. The time dragged by, and the last day of the year being as short as a shortcake anyway, it was almost dark before the bagpipe kit was finally assembled. Rhubarb was almost overcome with excitement as he took a deep breath and blew his first blow. For a while, the going was a bit sticky, which was only to be expected with the glue that was all over his paws, but he soon got wind of it. Before long, he was well and truly stuck into the music manual called 10 Tunes for Bagpipe Beginners. Rhubarb rattled off the tunes in double quick time and proceeded to slow march around the lawn, huffing and puffing, wailing and wailing on the pipes. "A real bagpipe bonanza you're having," Custard piped up and tried to pad his ears with popcorn. Moon turned pale and fled behind the clouds, and the birds began to choke on their pieces of string. Still Rhubarb went on wailing and wailing. Only a hen by the name of Haggis appeared to appreciate the noise he was making. She strutted along behind Rhubarb, squawking a sad solo. Just as Rhubarb was starting on the 10th tune for the second time round, and the animals were preparing to emigrate, an underdog from the caboodles of the Clyde arrived with yet another brown paper parcel. This one, which was even bigger than the first, was addressed Custard the Cat of the Clan McCattish. Rhubarb relinquished his pipes and persuaded Custard to remove the popcorn from his ears. The birds, hearing the silence and wondering what had happened, bounced back onto the branches, expecting a second serving of string. Custard strolled over, still in a totally uninterested sort of way, and untied the parcel without even looking at it. Inside was a box, and inside the box was a note. "Dear Custard," it said, "everyone who buys a Caboodles of the Clyde bagpipe set is entitled to a free Catoodles of Catford violin for his next door neighbour. Wishing you a good dogmanay and a cutty new year." Custard's totally uninterested expression disappeared and was instantly replaced by his totally enthusiastic one. "Next door neighbour," he spluttered, almost speechless. "That's me. That's wonderful. Thank you, Rhubarb." Custard was beside himself, and he couldn't for the life of him think how he'd got there. But as soon as he'd recovered, he tucked the violin under his whiskers, and holding the bow and beaming broadly, he played on and on for more than an hour. "What a wonderful fiddle," he squeaked, while Moon stayed in hiding in case there might be a cow waiting to take a running jump over him. Rhubarb laughed. The birds fled once more to a feast of savoury string. "What a way to welcome a new year," said Rhubarb happily. "Pick up your pipes," commanded Custard, "and I'll flourish my fiddle, and we'll bring it in together." "You take the high road, and I'll take the low road," sang Rhubarb. "It's time to go first pouring." So, as the dawn broke with the terrible noise they were making, they rambled off on their rounds, with Haggis bringing up the rear. The end. Goodbye, Mina. Goodbye, Jack. Goodbye, everyone. Bye.